In this video, we're going to show you how to install spark plugs on your Ford Mustang located on both sides of the engine. And once you have the hood open, we're going to come on over to the passenger side of the engine. We're working on the 3.8 liter V6. We're going to go ahead and remove our air intake tube from the throttle body and the air filter box. Using a flathead screwdriver, loosen the hose clamp here, and then one at the other end. Now by the throttle body here, we have a vacuum hose. We're going to simply go ahead, grab that, and pull that out. Now we can go ahead and pull the air intake tube off. Go ahead and set that aside. Now we're going to be working on the passenger side of the engine right here. And you're going to want to put your arm down inside. Now you're going to find 3 exhaust tubes coming off the side of the cylinder head. And in between those tubes, you're going to find 3 ignition wires. Now you want to go ahead and put your hand down inside, and you're going to reach down behind the air injection tube, and you're going to go down and pull the rear spark plug boot off of the spark plug. Now reach down and grab that spark plug boot. And want to try and twist that a little bit and then pull that off. There's the boot end right here. I'm just going to pull it off to the side. Now we're using a 5/8 inch deep spark plug socket. Has a rubber boot inside of it to go ahead and hold the spark plug once it's released. It's going to be a little tough to get in there, so I might have to add a short extension onto this. And we're also using a swivel head ratchet here. Now the 3 spark plugs on this side of the engine are very similar as far as removing. There's not a lot of room to get your hands into, so swivel heads, swivel head ratchet, short extension will definitely help quite a bit. This is where that rubber boot comes in handy to secure that spark plug. It holds it in place. Now before we install our spark plug, it's super tough to get our hand down inside to go ahead and thread this in by hand. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert the spark plug into that rubber boot and just gently get it into the first groove. I want to make sure that when I pull the socket, it comes off, but yet the spark plug stays in. Let's go ahead and thread this into the cylinder head. My left hand spun around the air injection tube there, or the EGR tube. Now if you can, thread this in as far as you can by hand. Take your time, make sure you don't cross thread it. All right, and we'll go ahead and install the ratchet on the end of that. Snug that down gently. Now, if you have the ability to do so, you want to go ahead and torque these spark plugs to 11 foot-pounds, which is not super tight. You just want to make sure that is seated. Make sure it's good and snug. You don't want to make it super tight. Go ahead and remove your spark plug and your socket and the extension. Now we're going to go ahead and take our boot. And one of the key things we want to pay attention to is we're going to put a little bit of dielectric grease inside this boot here. We actually have some in there now. I'm going to put a little bit more in there, some fresh grease. Just a tiny bit on the inside of that boot, not a big glob of it. Feed this down. Slide that boot onto the spark plug. I'm going to go ahead and take our boot, slide that onto the spark plug. Now the key thing here is you want to make sure that that boot clips on to the spark plug. So you're going to push it on, you should feel it pop onto there. Now if you don't feel it, you risk that boot popping off and running a misfire code or a drivability issue, any of the above. So make sure that that is on there. Now you want to go ahead and repeat this process for the other 5 spark plugs. Now that you've replaced the spark plugs on the passenger side of the engine, let's go ahead and install the air intake tube. Put that onto the air intake box here, slide this on. You want to make sure that this is fully seated on the throttle body so you can reach underneath and make sure it's on all the way. Same thing on the air box here. Once that's in place, go ahead and snug down the hose clamps on both ends. And then up by the throttle body, we have this vacuum tube here. Make sure you install this here. Just line that up, pop it into place, and you're all set.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.